Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hello, I'm Kerry and I'm a Disney adult, and in this video we are on part 2 of my tier list of the Disney films of the 1970s and 1980s. The other video will be up here for you, and let's get into it. So as you can see from the previous video, we put the first 5 films of the 70s and 80s into their tier spots. So the Aristocats went in number 2 in 1. The Aristocats went in at the A tier, Robin Hood at the S tier because it's amazing. And what do we have after that? The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh went in at the C tier, and then The Rescuers and The Fox and the Hound went in at D because I just consider them to be really poor films. Speaking of poor films, let's go on to the next one here, which is The Black Cauldron. I don't need to, it's not a surprise to anyone that I think it's a bad film. It's well known for being a bad film. I'd imagine it's got a nice little cult following, but generally the film is poor. It is not Disney-ish in the slightest. I mean, the characters, I suppose, look Disney, but everything about the film just doesn't feel Disney. It feels more like, whoever it was, like one of the Steven Spielberg ones, like, what was it, Land Before Time? Which, by the way, The Land Before Time is a great film. I'm not dissing The Land Before Time, but the style of animation and the way the film is of The Black Cauldron really feels similar to the style of animation and the sort of style of film of The Land Before Time or something like that. So it doesn't feel like a Disney film, and that is my first critique of it. My husband's review of this is very entertaining, and we'll be putting it up in a few weeks' time. I mean, a few weeks' time, probably a few months' time, because it's going to be going up weekly before we start doing the podcasts. But I just read through it, and he initially thought it was a good thing when I said the film isn't very Disney-ish from the start, but then going into it, you know, even he agrees now, looking back, and the fact he's seen so many Disney films since then, and also has been to Disneyland a few times and things like that, that yeah, the lack of Disney is not a good thing in the film. So what generally do I dislike about it? Well, most things, to be honest. It doesn't have the way the story flows. You get very little explanation of what's happening from one scene to the next. Things just seem to happen and there's no explanation of it. One of my big criticisms is they tried to, as always with Disney films, create this cute little side character cute little, what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? Not side character. Help me out here, people. You can't. Sidekick. There you go. Why did I struggle with that so much? Hang on. I've just noticed my light's not on. 2 seconds. So professional. There we go. Now you can see me better. Because we're in January and everything's really freaking dark and it's kind of depressing. Today, honestly, we had a storm. I digress as always. We had a bit of a storm outside, thunderstorm, and it literally went like darkness. And this was about, I don't know, 11:30, well, 11, half 11 in the morning. That wasn't fun. Anyway, I digress as I often do. That's why these videos go on for so long. But, yeah, the little sidekick character that clearly was supposed to be cute. Gurgi. What the hell is that? I'm not going to say what my husband refers to it as looking at, because I think it's quite funny in his review and I don't want to ruin it. But it looks like this little old man type thing, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be some sort of animal creature. But there is no explanation to what Gurgi is. He's just this thing, and he's not cute. And his voice isn't cute. And everything about him, I'm sorry, is not cute. I'm trying to think of other like little Disney sidekicks and things like that. Especially when you go into more sort of future films. So you think like Miko in Pocahontas, or the cricket in Mulan and things. I'm trying to think of the like, little sidekicks, or even like the animals in Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, and the mice in Cinderella and things like that. They were cute little sidekicks. They were cute. Gurgi? It's like they went, oh, we should probably have a cute little sidekick. Oh, well, he'll do. No, he won't. He's not cute. And I get it that Taran finds him annoying. He really, I mean, okay, so he just tries to steal an apple because he's hungry. You know, let's not condemn the kid too, you know, the creature too much. You know, I don't think I hate him as much as Taran does at the beginning of the film, but he ain't cute and it's annoying. Taran is boring, and Elonwy comes across as very sort of self-righteous and very annoying. The minstrel bloke, whose name I cannot pronounce, and I'm not going to try. I'm sure the word phlegm is in there somewhere. I just didn't see the point in the character at all in it. you had Taran, you had Elonwy, you had Gurgi, and then you had this other random bloke who I don't understand why he was in it. The Horned King was just a villain with no sort of reason for doing what he's doing. There was no, I mean, even Cruella de Vil was wanting to skin the dogs because she wanted to make a coat because she's obsessed with high fashion. Maleficent was annoyed that she wasn't invited to the party. You know, it's a stupid reason. Lady Tremaine was trying to keep the fortune of her family intact and the lifestyle of herself and her two daughters. You know, the Queen in Snow White was trying to keep her youth, and she was jealous of Snow White. The Horned King, just being evil for the sake of being evil. There's just no reason for it. And the whole film is just, ugh. It is just a bad film. And I honestly do not know what Disney were thinking. I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose it's from the book, but why the characters had such Welsh names without Welsh accents. To be fair, the Welsh accents would have improved the film for me. If they'd all had the accents like this. I'm very sorry if my Welsh accent isn't very good. But if they'd sounded like they were from Gavin and Stacey or something, I really appreciate my Welsh accent sounded a bit Indian, but I kind of just picked a random mashup of Welsh accents. So I'm sorry, Welsh people watching this. I know it's terrible. I can do better. I can, I promise you. Why is it when an English person tries to do a Welsh accent, then it ends up sounding like a really stereotypical Indian accent? I have no idea, but, you know, that's just the way it goes. But yeah, if they'd had some Welsh accents, it would have been brilliant. But they didn't. They just had some clearly Welsh names, which were cool. I like the Welsh names. I'm here for it. But, yeah, not keen. Some pluses for the films, because, you know, I searched for some. The name Elonwy is great. Brilliant name for a princess, love that. And the pig Henwin was cute. That's it. That's all you're getting. Where am I putting it? Blimmin' obvious. Going into E is a truly dreadful film. Okay, on to The Great Mouse Detective. I feel we have a lift on this film, on this, where the films were going. Because obviously we had The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which was tenuous. Then you had The Rescuers, The Fox and the Hound, The Black Cauldron, which were all truly freaking awful. And then you have The Great Mouse Detective. Now, some people say this is the worst Disney film. I highly, highly disagree with this. I actually find the film really quite enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, it's not amazing. It's not like, you know, Robin Hood. But, you know, it's still a good film. So I'm looking at myself and thinking, has my mascara run? No, I don't think so. Sorry. Little moment there. You know me, keeping all the weird crap in my videos. And cut out any bit where I'm rustling papers. So that's pretty much it. You just get me not rustling papers and reading off notes. That's pretty much all you get of my editing. Unless I've really, really tripped over my words. But still, anyway, I digress again. The Great Mouse Detective, I think, is a great film. Now, as my husband points out in his review, and that's the only thing I'm going to say that he says in his review, is there are great similarities to the TV series, the British TV series from the 1980s, Danger Mouse. It was also a mouse. It was also pretty much Sherlock Holmes. And this is what The Great Mouse Detective is. It is basically Sherlock Holmes as a mouse. Negatives in this film. I'm trying to think of some negatives. Usually I was writing things down, but I looked at these films coming up and thought, you know what, I'm going to wing it with these ones. Might come across a little bit more authentic. So, negatives in the film. I can't think of any drastic negatives. It was okay. Yeah, I'll have some negatives. The stereotyped way the film ends with the chase scene, and you think that Basil's died and all the rest, and it's a little bit too predictable. Sorry, it's really bothering me. The Black Cauldron isn't lining up properly. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. I think the Scottish accents were a little over the top of Olivia and Mr. Flavisham, but maybe that's just me. I felt they were a bit too Scottish. It's like, we get it. You're in a kilt. You have a little Scottish hat on. I'm really sorry, I don't know what they're called. They look like berries, but I don't think they are. We get it, you're Scottish. The accent was way over the top, though, if I'm honest. From somebody that, you know, is British, so therefore, you know, lives in the same country as Scottish people, obviously. Because it is the country I live in, is the United Kingdom. So, and I also work with a Scottish person, and I know there's different regions of Scotland, but that one was way over the top. So yeah, criticisms on the over the top Scottish accent for Olivia and Mr. Flavisham. Let's point out the absolute best part of this film, and that is without a doubt Rattigan's song. The fact that he has the time to create this entire song just to create a slow demise of his arch nemesis in Basil is possibly the greatest thing that has ever been in a film. I think we just need to take a moment to appreciate that. So, I generally think the comedy in the film good, the animation's good, the story's good fun, the villain Rattigan is awesome. And the fact that he feeds some... Oh, that's just... Sorry, let's just go back to the Black Cauldron. Frickin' scary. That is a frickin' scary film for children. I should add that into the Black Cauldron. Sorry, scary film. Whereas Rattigan, the only scary bit is the fact he feeds one of his, like, henchmen or whatever, one of his fans to a cat for being too drunk. That's a bit dark. Like, the cat just eats this mouse that we've seen in clothes and stuff, just wandering around being, you know, anthropomorphized. Is that the right word? Anthropomorphized. Yeah, so that's the only downside, you know, a downside to the film is that's a pretty dark for children. Otherwise, it's stupid, the film, as a lot of the ones from this era were, but generally it was great fun. And I'm surprisingly putting this one into the B tier. And that's not just because I haven't got any in the B tier. It's because I genuinely think it's a great film. And you know, I'd probably watch it again. So, on to Oliver and Company. This film is very 80s, and that's not a criticism. That's just a general observation. Now, the Artful Dodger is voiced by Billy Joel, and all the songs are I think were written by Billy Joel, so it's a very Billy Joel-based film. The songs, looking back now, feel very dated, which not all songs from the 80s do. There's a lot of songs that from the 80s that are still, you know, really popular now. So it's not the style necessarily, you know, the fact it's from the 80s, but the songs, I just don't know how much, even in the 80s, kids would have necessarily enjoyed them. But I don't know. I didn't watch the film in the 80s. I watched the film a few years ago. So I thought it's a very, very enjoyable film. It has its flaws. I feel some areas are quite dark in the film. But generally, the film is really good fun. The character of the Artful Dodger is good. Rita's good as a character. Some of the other dogs are great. It's Sykes, isn't it? Because it's obviously based on Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist is a great story. I love the fact they made a twist of Twist, with obviously creating the characters being cats and dogs. Oliver the kitten is absolutely adorable, and of course you knew I was going to say that. The fact the film has got so many dogs in it, I love as well. Oh God, what's the little girl? Jenny, I want to say. So it's been a few years. I really should have read through some notes on this. But I want to say Jenny. Is it Jenny? I'm going to look it up and find out. Okay, so I've just looked into it. Joey Lawrence did the voice of Oliver. Love that. And then Cheryl Lee Ralph, or Cheryl Lee Rafe, whatever you want to say, who was the mum in Moesha. She did the voice of Rita, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, Billy Joel was the voice of the Artful Dodger. Yeah, the little girl was Jenny. She's so sweet. I love the fact that she adopts Oliver and everything. That's so lovely. And then her dog, Georgette, was voiced by Bette Midler. So she has an entire song and everything in it because Bette Midler's amazing. And just generally, I find it has its sort of bleak moments, as Oliver obviously does. You know, Oliver Twist does. I say Oliver because I just remember the Oliver musical. But it's actually a really good film. Really underrated film. It was, you know, quite a good modern take. I think they were definitely going in the right direction for it, especially having obviously somebody who in the 80s was as popular as Billy Joel. I do not know, maybe in, was it 1989, 1988 even, maybe 87, this film came out, whether Billy Joel was still in his heyday at that point. I'm not sure if he was, because obviously he had songs out in the 70s as well. So I wonder if it was maybe him trying to sort of bring himself back into the era of, you know, gain more popularity with the youngsters again. I don't know if it works. I quite like his music still. So I don't know, but Oliver and Company, I don't even think I need to sort of do the cons and the pros on that one. It's just all round quite a good film. So from that, I am going to put Oliver and Company... Oh, it's difficult. I don't have to put it on C or B. I think I'm going to put it in at B. It was a fun film. Let's do it. Guys, we're on to the Little Mermaid. If you haven't figured this out from my videos already, this is like possibly my favourite film of all time. It's as I said, when I was so obsessed with mermaids. I still kind of am. When I was 7, I actually tied my legs together with string because don't worry, it wasn't like a permanent thing. It was quite easy to get undone again. Tied my legs together with string because I wanted to be a mermaid. If I went swimming, I would flip myself around in the water like a mermaid. It's actually very difficult to swim like that. I don't know how people who actually wear the tails and everything as like a costume and go in water and stuff actually do it. But, you know, maybe it's different when you've got sort of bigger fins on the end. I'm not really sure. This film is magnificent. Do I even need to talk about it? Yeah, I probably should. Let me try and think of some negatives of the film, because I know this film so well, I didn't even feel the need to sit down and write down some pros and cons of the film. Cons. Obviously, Ariel is only 16. So the fact that she becomes so instantly in love with this guy so much that she's going to, you know, get rid of her fins and risk losing her voice forever and risk being dragged down into Ursula's little garden of whatever the hell they are. After 3 days, you know, for this guy she hasn't even spoken to yet, she's just seen and gone, he's good looking. It's very teenager, I'm not going to lie. If you're female and you've been a teenage girl, you know the whole weird, insane way that we see boys. Like, you know, we will convince ourselves that we can actually marry pop stars that we're in love with, that we think we're in love with. So as much as it is crazy, she's 16. I totally understand. Well, I totally can imagine that she would do that, even though it is absolutely insane. That's the only real negative. I mean, obviously the whole thing with the fish being chopped up, and, you know, Sebastian seeing all these fish being chopped up and, you know, crabs being boiled and stuff like that is horrific, but it does give you the Le Poisson song, which is amazing. So that's my only negative, is the fact that Ariel is obviously ridiculously naive, but she is 16 years old. I'm not a child anymore, but she is 16 years old. So that's the, it's a negative, but I can explain it away. The positives. She's a mermaid. Mermaids are awesome. The score for this film is just beautiful. I think you have it when you go into Disneyland Paris and probably into the other Disney parks as well. You know, it's been a while. But I know when you go into the Disneyland Paris park, as you're walking up towards the Disney Hotel, you get the that I didn't give a deep enough breath for that. That music right at the beginning, where you've had the I'll tell you the tale of the bottomless blue, that song, and then obviously the fish escapes, swims down into the ocean again, and you get all that music. You have that entire piece of music while you were in the queue to get into Disneyland Paris, and oh my god, the first time I went to Disneyland Paris and I heard that music in the queue line, I was in tears, because the memories it brings back of the way I felt when I was, how was I, 7? Yeah, I was 7. Yeah, when I was 7 years old and seeing that film for the first time. Oh my god. It just brings back such good memories for me. There is nothing quite as nostalgic as that music for me. And, you know, we're starting off at the beginning of the film. Just generally the score of the film. Part of Your World was the song I used to sing when I was about 8, and it was the first song I would sing that made me realise that actually, despite how you hear my little songs and stuff, that I loved singing, and I was a good singer. The way I used to be able to sing that song when I was younger, and probably still can now, to be honest, if I warmed my voice up enough, I sang it so well, and it was such a beautiful song, and I used to love singing it around the house. My parents probably got bored of hearing it, but it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. And this is when we went into the first era of really, really beautifully written Disney music, with Howard Ashman and Alan Menken writing the songs. And obviously then you get Under the Sea, which is the most vibrant, uplifting and enjoyable visual and audio experience. Oh God, I'm going so deep in this film, aren't I? Of a Disney film. And it was the first one that had really gone, wow, with you, and, you know, with a song with a film that made it so worthy of being nominated for Academy Awards and things like that. Kiss the Girl is still possibly my favourite Disney song. I think yeah, I'm probably going to pip it to the top with I See the Light from Tangled, because that is, it's clearly I just like songs where the two romantic characters are in a boat, because there's something magical about them being in a boat, and they're going into the lagoon, and the the little fish diving over, and then the end of the song, the last bit, the last sort of chorus of the song, where you can hear Scuttle doing his wah 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 thing in the background, but it's more la 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 in the background. Just incredible. It's pure Disney magic at its best. And I really don't think I need to tell you where I'm putting this, as this is my favourite film of all time. So it is going in at the S tier. And that's probably the best review I've actually done of a film, rather than just going, it's great, it's brilliant. No, to actually break down the film. But as I said, I know the film so well. I've seen it like a gajillion times. So, yeah. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what you thought, where you would have put these films, whether you would agree with me with Robin Hood and Little Mermaid going in at the top, whether you agree with me with the Black Cauldron going in at the bottom, if you would have put the films anywhere else, if you can give me a good reason for why I shouldn't have put the Black Cauldron in at E, I'd love to know. Please make sure to like and subscribe. As I said, please comment. I would love to see your own tier lists on this. The next video will be coming out on Monday at 8 o'clock. I'm now putting these videos up at 8 o'clock because actually the last one I put up at 8 o'clock, because I was running so late on Monday, well, actually has performed a lot better. So I'm going to try out posting them at 8 o'clock. If it doesn't perform quite so, maybe it's just the fact it was Disney films of the 1970s and 80s. No, maybe, you know, pipped people's attention, but it's done a lot better for views. So 8 o'clock is when my videos are going to be going up now. So we will be going into the first probably 5 films of the 1990s on Monday. It's probably going to take a lot longer to do the 1990s, and then the 2000s go even more insane. So please make sure to tune in for that. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit the bell for notifications. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.